welcome Mr. Steve Patterson.
I really do love you, Montreal, and I miss you. I lived here up until last year, and unfortunately I had to move. But I miss Montreal, and ironically, I miss the French. I miss the French language, even though I don't speak the French language. I miss it. I wish I spoke more French, but I grew up in Toronto, so I took Toronto French class. They're not even trying, to be honest with you.
And that was Steve Patterson. In 2011, he won the award for Canada's Best Male Stand-Up Comic. He's also the host of a comedy radio show called The Debaters. And this week, during the Just for Laughs Festival, he's hosting a series of solo shows at Studio Théâtre at Place des Arts. And welcome. Okay, so I saw the show last night.
Yes,
my husband was laughing so hard, he was in tears, and he doesn't like stand-up comics.
That's a great sign.
So that's good.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope that's good. Either that or he was choking. I don't know.
But I've never been in Studio Théâtre before. It's a really small venue. And it's nice, isn't it? Do you like working small crowds like that?
Yeah, it's very intimate. I think it fits, 100 and change or something. It's what a typical TV studio audience would be. So it's got that feeling of the audience right on top of you. And if it goes well, as you heard, it's great. It's a magical atmosphere.
It went well. I mean, you really had the audience last night. It must be such a thrill, right? For a stand-up comic to have that audience with you like that?
Well, that's what we're here for, That's what everyone laughing feels good, and to have had a part in making everyone laugh, it's like a drug, but much more acceptable and cheaper, frankly, from what I've heard. So it's a great feeling, and I hope every crowd is like that this week. Yeah.
You've got some really interesting observations, right? Because you're talking about the politicians and how you can't lose, right, with the kind of politicians and the mayors we've had lately.
I just want to say to all the Canadian politicians, just thank you on behalf of all comedians. Thank you for doing what you're doing. It's making our job, I wouldn't necessarily say easier, it's just certainly giving us more to draw from. And finally, we don't have to look south of the border for ridiculous behavior to make fun of. There's some really good, meaty stupidity going on in Canadian politics that I can talk about now. It's great.
But you really do adjust your comedy to the different parts of, like yesterday, obviously you were playing to a Montreal crowd. You must do a lot of reading, right? Just to keep up on the politics and all the events that are going on and everything? Yeah,
I used to read just the sports pages first, and now I've realized if I'm going to do comedy all over the world to all sorts of people, I need to read all sections of the paper. So some of it I still don't understand, but I like to try to get stuff out there to people, and it helps me understand it, and I like to try to get some sort of point to the comedy as well, that they can laugh, but it also makes a point, and that's what I try to do.
Well, the other thing where you make the point, and I thought it was great, is you sort of chastise us very gently, very in a funny way, about social behavior and people being rude and people being nice, and
yeah,
it's nice to get that message across in a nice way.
I like to, and I can't really talk about exactly what it is here, but I think that being friendly to people is better than the alternative, which we'll call not friendly for this news hour broadcast. And I think that I think there's more good people in the world than bad, and it's our job as good people to kind of rise up and celebrate that and chastise the bad people where you can. And that's what I'm trying to get out in my comedy. I want it to be positive and not negative, and try to help, and that's why I break into song at certain points during the show, and people started singing along last night, which I didn't expect. And
because they'd never heard the song
before. They'd never heard the song.
Which is great.
If you can sing along to a song you've never heard, that's pretty powerful, yeah.
So you say you got into stand-up because you don't like mornings?
That's one of the main reasons, yeah. I mean, I have a business degree. There's many other things I could be doing. I went to law school for a while, and I still have great friends that are lawyers and business people, but I've decided that this is what I do best, and the not having to do early mornings is a nice benefit.
But what is the attraction then? So you got a business degree, you could be a lawyer, so what is that? Is it that thrill that you would have gotten last night when everybody's just laughing with you and singing with you?
I think so. I think that if you could do something really well, you should be doing it. You know, it's my passion is to do this, and I think that any comic that's really good, that you see them, you get a feeling as a musician, as anyone you're watching doing their job really well, you're thinking this person's doing what they're supposed to be doing.
But it's not easy, is it? I mean, it's hard work. I mean, you know, we just sit back and, you know, we either laugh or we don't, but it's a hard business to be in.
It is hard. It's a hard business, but I mean, you know, as working, strictly speaking, working hours go, it's a pretty good gig. I mean, when you're a comic, I'll be doing 10 hours of work this week, frankly speaking, on stage. I have 10 hours.
Some people think that's what I do too, actually.
That's right, right? They're thinking, like, it's only working 10 hours this week. Seems like a good gig. But a lot of prep goes into it. You always have to have your eyes open and your ears open and see what's going on. I like to keep the show current. And
you do.
Tonight's show will be different than last night's, and every night will be a little different depending on what happens during the week. So.
Well, you know what? It was great. We enjoyed it thoroughly. It was very, very funny.
Thank you so much for coming.
So it's at the Studio Théâtre, which is a small theater at Place des Arts. You're there until the 27th. You're also doing a gala on the 26th.
On Friday, yeah, with Kristen Chenoweth. So we'll both break into song. Maybe we'll get to do a duet. I don't know.
Anyways, thanks so much for coming.
Thank you
do
very
a great
much.
thing with the golf cart story. It's worth it.
Worth
just
it alone?
For
all
the
right.
yeah.
Come for the golf cart. Stay for the rest.
Okay. The cyclists were funny too. Okay, we'll be right back.
Mr. Steve Patterson!
I really do love you, Montreal, and I miss